I'm Cole, and I'm joined here with Jared Lujan. You might know him from books like Dryfoot and the Twin Blades, and we're going to talk about his new Kickstarter right after this. So welcome, Jared, and yeah, welcome back. It looks like the burrito boost got you for a second time because I know both times you laughed after we had that hit with a little boop boop boop.
Yeah, it's the antennas. They got me again. I remembered as it started playing, I was like, oh, the antennas are coming. And then they just popped up.
Yeah, and bit spoiler, but there's going to be some cool antennas that you'll see in the thumbnail coming up. So, but I've got you here to talk about a Kickstarter that you're releasing. It is called All the Devils Are Here. And yeah, I mean, if you want to give us the elevator pitch of this book for those who don't know about it.
Yeah, so it's a 44-page one shot that's like a horror infused action thriller about an elderly man who becomes possessed by a demon and an exorcist that has to enter a shared consciousness with him in order to purge the demon and send it back to hell. Um, it's like Inception meets Constantine set in the world of Sucker Punch. It's a really, really wild story.
Well, I like all of those things, so I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I was actually looking at some of the art, and speaking of the art, I'm going to show the main cover here. So, do you want to talk about the creative team that you have on this book?
Yeah, so obviously I wrote it. Matt Harding has been in comics for a long time. He's worked as an editor. He's worked in pre-production over at Black Mask. He worked for Madefire for a while. He's just been doing a lot of stuff. He's a writer and an editor and an artist. And this is his first, I think, his first major book that he's done all the art for. Uh, we obviously, and he's done a fantastic job. It's brilliant. It's a beautiful book. We also have Warnia Sahadewa, and if you remember Warnia, if you read my book Dryfoot, she's the colorist from Dryfoot, and
Oh,
I brought her
awesome.
back for this. Yeah, she's fantastic, and she has also done an incredible job. We got Melanie Ujimori, who is the letterer for the book, and Melanie is a person who I worked with on a book years ago that ended up never getting published. And I really wanted to work with her again, and she's done a brilliant job with the pages. The book is so nuanced, I think is the word I'm looking for. We have like real small details, especially in the lettering, that help us get across what's going on with the protagonist. And she's done a really good job of bringing all of that and all those voices, giving them all personalities and like a feeling. So it's been great to work with her. We have our editor Hernan Guarderas, who is an editor who I've worked with several times. He edited her script, and Sarah Harding, Matt's wife, and the editor I had on a book called, or on a story called Interloper for Cold Dark Universe. She was my editor on that one. So we've got a bunch of people that I've worked with before, a bunch of people I really wanted to work with again, and kind of link them all up. Oh, and our logo and trade dress was by Tim Daniel of Vault Comics.
Oh,
Uh,
awesome. Yeah, yeah, you can kind of see that in some of those logos.
Yeah, yeah. So he did our logo, and he did the dress for the cover. So we've got a really really solid team. You know, like with Twin Blades, I was the only one. Gabby and I, the letterer, were the only ones that had like published work before, um, that had really kind of been around the block in comics for a while. Julio and Rocco were both still pretty new, even though they did a killer job. But everybody on this team for All the Devils Are Here has publishing credits and has been in comics for a long time. We're all pretty seasoned, and so it was really kind of cool working with everybody in that light and developing the book and how it looks now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know I kind of had this page up for a little bit, but as you mentioned, like the action, I think you can really see it here. It is upsetting that, like, I mean, granted, we don't have the letters there for certain reasons. Some people don't want to see that, but it would be nice to see some of them here. But yeah, I mean, this is shows like I remember looking at this, and when you said sucker punch, that's kind of the vibes that I get, like, crazy over the top action, which you don't always see in horror books. Like, I guess what really drove you to add the action concept to that?
I really like big pieces like that, big action sequences that are fresh and new and original and add something. And so early on when I was planning the book, I wanted to make it. I wanted to make JC our main character. I wanted him to stand out as something more than just an exorcist. You know, that he's definitely an exorcist, but there's definitely a little bit something special about him. And so the way that I thought would be a good way to show that would be through these action sequences where you can kind of see a different side of him as he's in this consciousness, navigating it, kind of coming out. And the book only gets nuts. We haven't shown anything past page. I think publicly we've sent some previews to people, but we haven't shown anything past, I think, page 12 publicly. Oh no, we've shown page 16. But
Speaking of page 16.
yeah, yeah. And it just gets nuts from there. It's a really, really crazy ride.
Yeah. I mean, the art is fantastic. I mean, I haven't read it personally yet, but I trust in you for the most part. Please don't make me cry in this one, though.
There may be a little bit of tears.
There may be tears. All right. Well, it's not the worst thing. So, seeing as this is a horror book and we're coming up to October, do you have like a favorite horror movie franchise that you follow, or really any horror movie that is your personal favorite?
Um, I don't know. I'm a really big fan of the classic Halloween movies. I think that's if I had to pick like a favorite horror franchise. But if I'm being totally honest with you, and I think this will be like slightly controversial, but it shouldn't be. I think my favorite horror movie is probably the first Alien movie. Um, I because it's that horror sci-fi
Oh,
mashup, right?
oh yeah.
And
I actually listened to a podcast that a guy wanted to watch horror movies like Get Out when people talk about, or like Midsummer. So when people talk about these big horror movies, and the first movie the guy had him watch was Aliens, and he was like, Aliens, a lot of people don't think this is a horror movie, but it's a haunted house movie. And
yeah,
it's scary. There's a big monster, so why isn't it horror? And it was like, here's your first taste.
yeah, yeah. I love the Alien franchise in general, but the first two are so fantastic, and they have that horror element. I think Predator did it as well, but Predator I think leaned more into the action than the Alien franchise did. But yeah, it's definitely my favorite horror movie. Whenever I think of something that scared me, like literally scarred me as a kid, it's the chest burster scene. And that's like the scene that traumatized me as a kid. I don't think I watched Alien until I was like well into my teens after because I just saw a glimpse of it on TV and it was the chest burster scene and I was like, nope.
Yeah, I know as a kid, my brother played me the Leprechaun movie, and I was probably like
Oof.
5 or 6, and I was so terrified by that. Now I like go back and watch Leprechaun, and it's like this movie is laughable, as an adult, but hey, it's still scary at some point. But yeah, I mean, I also love the Halloween movies, as I kind of did right there. I've got the only one of the action figures I have is the Michael NECA figure, and yeah, great horror movies. But I guess is there anything else that you want to say to everyone about All the Devils Are Here? I will have all your information below. I'll have the link to the Kickstarter, so anyone that wants to, back this book will be able to find it. But is there anything else you want to talk to the people about?
Yeah, I really think that you should go onto the campaign page. If you're on the fence, go on the campaign page and read about it. Matt, and this story is super personal to me. My grandfather struggled with dementia the last few years of his life. It was a really big life-changing experience. It really ripped apart my family in a lot of ways. And so this is so personal to me because it's me kind of writing about my grandfather. And Matt also had a grandparent who struggled with dementia towards the end of their life, and it's one of those things that we kind of wanted to write about and eulogize the people that we love and lost to this thing. And so it's super personal. And if you are on the fence about it, if you're not sure if this sounds like it's your bag, I would go to the campaign page, give it a look. We've got a ton of people that we've sent it to, a bunch of our friends who have said beautiful and super nice things. David Pepos, Liana Kangas, Cullen Bunn, Steve Orlando, all people that have read the book, read the first 15 pages, and really dug it. And if we can impress Cullen Bunn, I feel like we can probably impress you to some extent. Like I'm not saying Cullen Bunn's better than you. I'm saying that he's pretty good at this stuff, especially the horror stuff. So just
Yep.
give it a chance and check it out.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining me, Jared. I'm Cole,
I'm Jared.
and thanks for getting wrapped up with us.